Hey everyone, Matthew Robinson back again, and I just got done watching Tron Legacy. Now, I went to go see this in the theaters just a few hours ago, and I watched it in digital 3D, which means I had my 3D glasses on. And here's what I have to say about the movie. I saw the original Tron on VHS when I was a little kid, probably about 12 or 13. And my dad had me watch it, and it was really confusing to me when I first watched it because of all the computer jargon and everything. But after I watched it a second and third time, as I started to progress in the world of technology, I understood it a lot more, and I appreciate it for what it was, and that really was one of those groundbreaking movies. Now we got Tron Legacy, where if it hadn't been for Avatar being released last year, it would probably have been just as groundbreaking in the sense of digital effects and the immersion in 3D. I'm not a huge fan of 3D movies. I think it's a cheap ploy to get a lot more money from the ticket sales, because generally the 3D has never been made to actually make you a part of the film, just a couple of cheap gimmicks. However, with movies like Avatar and now Tron Legacy, 3D does have its place, though it's being overused. Like, for instance, Yogi Bear, another movie that came out last week, was in 3D. Obviously, not necessarily a movie that needs to be in 3D. Actually, probably a movie that didn't even be made at all. Anyway, Tron Legacy. Basic story of this is a sequel that takes place literally about 20, 30 years in the future. It would be, it'd be about 30 years in the future. And it's interesting what's happened in this film. But it's the best way to describe it, I guess, would be that the son of Kevin Flynn played by Jeff Bridges, who was the original Tron, is played by a guy named Garrett Hedlund, I believe. He plays a son who goes looking for his father one day when he gets finds out that his father has paged him from the old arcade he used to own, which has been decommissioned for like 20 years. So he goes there and he ends up trapped in the world of Tron. There he meets Jeff Bridges' doppelganger, I guess is the best way to describe it, like this computer program they made that looked like him called Clue. And this is where the digital effects and everything, from the opening scene in this movie, the Disney castle rolls out in 3D animation, and it's just amazing. The visuals in this movie are incredible. Like, this is a real sensory experience. This is a movie you cannot see on VHS, or not VHS, I said VHS because I'm thinking of the 80s now, and the 90s. You can't see it on DVD or even Blu-ray. It won't give you the full effect. Like, you need to see this movie in 3D. Well, I guess you could see it on Blu-ray if you had a big enough screen, but this is an event movie. It's an experience, much like an Avatar. We get to the more story. He gets into the world, and he finds his father, and he realizes that he has to beat Clue, his digital version of his father, because he's gone corrupt, and he's trying to basically destroy the world of Tron and change it to make it his own. I'm not going to spoil anything else beyond that, really, but that's the basic plot of it. It's a very simple story, and that's the big downfall of this movie. Visually, this movie is stunning, and I mean stunning. It's incredible to watch. A true sensory experience. The set design is incredible. Major props to the cinematographer Claudio Miranda and to the film editor James Haygood. Definitely got to give some credit to production design by Darren Guilford, art direction by Sean Hayworth, Kevin Nisco, Ben Proctor, David Scott, William Ladd Skinner, Grant Van Der Sloot. They pretty much saved this movie. Also, big round of applause to the soundtrack created by Daft Punk, which was incredible. My cousin was sitting next to me, and he was actually popping his head at certain times. The fight scenes and the light cycle battles in this movie are over the top and fun. But the storyline, and especially the dialogue, is incredibly weak, and surprisingly so. The script was written by, Edward Kitsis, I think I pronounced his name right, and Adam Horowitz. And actually, Adam Horowitz, that name rings a bell with me because Adam Horowitz, he worked on Lost, which kind of explains something. He was an executive producer and writer and things like that. He also worked on Life as We Know It, Birds of Prey, Felicity. But that kind of explained maybe some of his writing. Because Lost, really, once the end of the year, got really terrible and the dialogue really terrible. And that's what this movie is. My cousin whispered to me during the movie that the storyline and the plot was basically a Disney Channel movie. The concept is great. but it's just like this movie. It's like it has a great skeleton and it has a great looking skin and flesh, but it's like it's missing ligaments. Like it's just not good. And I'm like someone who I can watch a movie and enjoy it without a good story, like I did here, if it's like entertaining enough, which this is. But it was really almost distractingly bad. The storyline, the acting was, for most people, was terrible. Garrett Hedlund was just like, he had his moments, but in a general sense, the scenes where he really needed to act, like, he was really flat at times. Jeff Bridges, I mean, he's a dude, he did good. Olivia Wilde did a good enough job of what he was given, and I think Michael Sheen probably did the best job as Zeus. But I was really disappointed with the acting and the storyline. Like, I just can't understand like why it was so bad. Like, if the screenwriters had taken half the amount of effort, have had half the amount of time that was probably put into the sets, into the cinematography and the music, this would have been another Avatar. But unfortunately they didn't. That all being said, it is still a movie I encourage you to go see in theaters because it's a lot of fun. And it's got great visuals. Olivia Wilde's in it, and I will basically watch her eat cereal, even though her character, not to spoil too much, her character has been built up, and a lot of the marketing I felt like for it in the video game as this warrior, this really strong woman who can kick butt and everything. And in the movie, she just gets slapped around all the time, like, and it's very disappointing. There are literally some shots of her where she's just sitting there on a couch or just like kneeling by some water and everything. It's like they didn't have anything for her character to do, and I could say that to the writers that they just didn't know how to write for a female character, because there really aren't any female characters in the movie except her. And I think if they had someone in there who could have written a good, strong female lead, her character could have been much more fulfilling, because I felt sorry for her as an actress because she had such potential with her character, and yet they just sidelined her. But that being said, it's still an exciting movie. And again, something you do not want to wait until it comes out on video. You want to see this in theater. I don't know how this movie is going to make its money back, because this word of mouth about the story, I feel like it's going to hurt it so much. Like, I think at this time it's made about $20 million this week, and last week it made about roughly like $40 million in the weekend. So it's probably made around roughly, say like, I haven't checked Box Office Mojo, but I say probably total it's made around 70 to 80 million over the past like weeks and holiday weekends. This movie was made for an extreme amount of money. It's just, I don't know how they're going to make it back, even international sales. Go figure on that one. But I guess overall for this movie, I will give it I'm going to give this movie a 78 out of 100, so like a C+. Like, and that's purely for the visuals, and for like the soundtrack and the action scenes. The story is just horrendously bad, but it's still worth seeing, if that makes sense. I know as a screenwriter I should be blasphemizing it because of it, but these people, I'm sure the screenwriter can do better work. I don't know if they were rushed or something. I don't want to just rag on them, and I feel like I'm picking on them. I mean, I don't know what happened in the creative process, but whatever happened, you can't let that happen again, especially when working on something like this. It just can't. I mean, this movie could have risen to a whole other level. If the script was just decent, it would have risen to a whole nother level for me. But yeah, that's what I got to say. Alright, so if you guys remember to check out my blog, rfmp.wordpress.com. Also my radio show, The Final Cut. The links are below. Have you seen Tron? What do you think of it? Or are you going to see it? Blah, blah, blah. What do you think of Olivia Wilde? No, just kidding. Anyway, that's all I had to say. So rate, that was a long video. That's all I had to say. I just made you watch this like 8-minute video. Rate, comment, subscribe. Until next time, please remember, it's all in the hair.